Welcome back. I'm back. It's all good. To another episode of the Miles Offside podcast where we talk a little bit of football and a whole lot of nothing. My name is Oscar Puente, also known as Footy from Afar, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts Chuck Bailey and super producer Ian Stimson.
Yeah. Say it loud. What? He's back and he's proud. What?
Yay. And I did not die skiing with my brother and nephews.
But you did catch coronavirus, which is why you're now in a bubble.
Hopefully it's not. If there is a bit of vocal fry coming through for the listeners, I am feeling, I mean, it is winter time, so I'm probably going to have bronchitis in a few days. That's just how that goes. You know this by now.
Yeah, it's when your marathon's booked, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's good to be back. You guys did pretty good without me. Save a few sort of detours into I don't know, religion, politics.
It is
what else was
built into the fabric of what we do that there is no such thing as a detour.
Yeah, that is true.
I was very meticulous in laying this out.
Yeah, the whole thing is a detour, really, at this point.
Exactly.
I'm glad you liked it, though, because the listener numbers suggest that they did not.
Oh, wait, so Oscar's the popular one?
We were a little bit down, and what's weirdest is we were down in Britain.
They just want to hear it's I'm like a spectacle.
Exotic.
I mean, exactly.
It's the exotic.
Yeah. Like an animal at the zoo.
I was sure that Americans might hear us two and immediately turn off. Nope, other way around.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, if it was the American numbers listening, it's because I listen like 10 times a week, so that probably would hurt.
Nate, one of our patrons, set all of the iPads in an electronics store onto our podcast.
Yeah, good man. Get on that, guys.
So that's like half our downloads right there.
Exactly.
Well, I am back. It's good to be back. If you are joining us for the first time, we are one American and two Brits, and we kind of have interest all up and down the table with our soccer teams / football teams. But, the whole thing mostly is a detour, but we do like to start it off with our very, very special segment known as Rapid Fire News. I gotta say, Chuck, I thoroughly appreciated your American newscaster voice for introing that segment last week. It's very nice.
You're welcome.
I liked it.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the vocal fry.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good. You get to lean right into the microphone.
Just like the Evian guy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's start off with the big story of the week. As everybody knows by now, the Egyptian Football Association has announced the registration of what it believes is the oldest professional player in the world.
Ian Stimson.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Third tier club, 6th October, which I guess is the name of the club, have signed 74-year-old Is Eldin Bakhder, I think. Not entirely sure on the pronunciation there.
I will concede to the good man from Rhode Island.
Yeah, exactly. He is an unknown in Egyptian footballing circles with no history of playing for any other professional clubs. No details were given of what kind of deal he signed, but they have invited the Guinness Book of World Records to come and watch him play in a third division match in a bid to have his record as the oldest professional player ratified for the following week until Ian Stimson makes his big debut.
I mean, talk about taking your time getting your career off the ground. Really bodes well for you and must fill you with a bit of confidence there, Ian, that you've still actually got a chance.
I've always sort of meted things by people who are older than me doing stuff. Like when I was in my early 20s, I was like, oh, well, Pete Doherty's like in his late 20s in the Libertines. There's still time for me to be a rock and roll star. And now there's still time for me to be a footballer. I thought it was done.
Yeah, not a lot of time, but there's still, sometimes.
Yeah, it's only 74, so you got to get on that now. You're not.
You got like 3 years.
Yeah, not far off.
We talk New Year's resolutions. I'm slimming down. Could happen.
There you go. How's that 24 stone you want to lose coming along?
24 stone?
I don't remember what you said. I don't know what a stone is. So it could be any number. I don't know.
How dare you not understand our archaic measuring system?
Is it 14 pounds? Is that what a stone is?
Yeah.
And 16 ounces in a pound.
If I had 24 to lose, that mean I'd weigh about 40 and I'd be in taking the side of house off territory to get out.
You'd be dead!
Exactly. I'd be on one of those documentaries for other reasons.
Yeah.
not just for really needing water.
Very thirsty.
Well, anything. I just wanted to make a joke about Ian being old.
Yeah, well, I think we've done that, so let's crack on.
Let's crack on then. Speaking of Ian, our next story, a tweet coming from one and only Darragh McAnthony. On 4:55 p.m. Eastern Time, January 23rd, 2020, he said, "What a side Wolves are, but how bloody resilient are LFC. I'd write a check for £80 million for that Traore kid. Developing into an unstoppable talent. Wow." Ian, big January signing coming up, huh?
I appreciate you running with this as if there's any sort of chance of Peterborough spending that sort of money. He is a Liverpool fan, and I think he's more saying, if I was chairman of Liverpool, I would spend that sort of money. Being as we broke our transfer record and spent £1 million on a striker this summer, I don't think we're going to then jump to 80 for Adama, as much as I love him.
Your transfer record is 1 million this year?
Yep.
Fucking hell, I knew you guys were like, I mean, you're only third division, right? Like, you're not that far off the Prem. How is 1 million your record? Are you particularly small for the division you're in? Or
No, I'm being harsh. It was 1.25 million.
Oh, well, that makes all the difference then.
No, we're pretty, we're always there or thereabouts. We're not unusually small.
Where? In Peterborough?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're always there
biggest
or
club in
thereabouts.
Peterborough.
Half the time, and then the other half of the time,
we're massive in this area.
around the country.
Wait. This is a good opportunity to educate me and Americans, though. Like, I just assumed that all the way down, like, the top 4, right, are the like, league.
Yeah.
So I assumed that all 4 levels are, like, super rich. Maybe not Premier League rich, but, like...
No, not
There
at all.
is a huge gap.
So it's the Prem and the Championship have money, and then below that it's, like, nothing?
Yeah, so Championship will have money because of either the recently relegated sides that are really hoping to get back up because that you can fall through the trapdoor like Sunderland, for example.
Yeah.
Or it's teams managing to bring players through that Premier League teams are then buying for more. Like Wolves, when they were in the Championship, they spent, I think it was about 15 million on Ruben Neves, and that was like ridiculous money for the Championship.
Okay.
Like that was massively ordered. And then the next step down again, like Ian said, Peterborough's record, and Peterborough have been in the Championship in fairly recent memory.
Yeah, relatively.
Until 2013, of course.
Yeah.
But 1.25 million, that's nothing. And it's kind of feeds into at the minute why loads of the top managers are saying they want to get rid of the League Cup or they want to get rid of replays. But those big teams go into kind of division, second division or lower down clubs. It really is a huge, huge cash injection that keeps football afloat. It's a very kind of delicate balance at the minute, especially if Sky take over and they start showing all of the 3 PM games as to what would happen. Like Ian said a little while ago, what would happen to those clubs further down.
Yeah, I mean, Peterborough are one of those that have really kept afloat, to be honest, by buying non-league players. Our scouting's been brilliant. Buying non-league players,
always been very, very good.
And then selling them on after getting a couple of years out of them, and that's how we've stayed afloat. That and Dara being happy to put money into the club. But yeah, it's that. Yeah, we recently, I think I've mentioned it before. We recently rejected a bid for another striker of £4 million, and that was mental because we've never done that before. Usually, someone's come in and said £4 million, and we bit their hand off because it keeps us going for a few years.
That's crazy.
That's how low it is in League One.
Because there's like no coverage of anything other than the Prem over here, so I know very, very, very little about it.
In all seriousness, on TV and that, there's not a great deal over here.
No, not really at all.
I mean, unless I sort of subscribe or buy like a match pass or something from the Peterborough website itself, best I'm going to see is a sort of 1 minute goal package on Sky Sports News or something, and you'll see the goals and maybe a couple of other highlights or whatever. It doesn't get coverage here, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's because it's all grouped in, like it's the 92, and so it'll be like 3 leagues in 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. Like it's not that much time. When then you've got match of the day, which will be an hour and a half, which will just be the Premier League team. That can just be 5-6 games.
Yeah. Yeah, so even here, very little of it actually gets TV coverage, which is why there's not a great deal of money in the
That
leagues.
seems blatantly insane to me, because, like, let's say you guys get promoted and Newcastle get relegated, which is, highly thinkable at this point.
Yeah.
You're going to be in the same league as Newcastle.
Yeah.
With all of the money that they have.
And their parachute payment they'll get when they come down.
Yeah. That seems wildly unfair to anyone getting promoted from the first league, League One, to the Championship, because in the Championship there's a bunch of like recently Premier League clubs, right? So they're going to have 100 times your budget.
In League One, even, there's teams like that because, as Chuck said, there are the odd one that falls through the trapdoors. So we've got Sunderland, we've got Portsmouth. In fairly recent memory, they've been Premier League teams. So they've got more money, more infrastructure. And as I've said before, Peterborough's not particularly sort of well supported. We'll get attendances of sort of 6,000 or whatever. Sunderland will still get crowds of 12,000, no problem. And more than that, that's a bog standard game,
Right.
So yeah, it's a tricky one, but that's the sort of look you're looking at. So yeah.
What is it like? What does it take to make that jump? Do they need a new owner to build a bigger stadium so that there's like match day revenue every day, or like what even is the like plan there?
I don't think it's necessarily the revenue. It's a lot of luck, and it's kind of just building something that sticks. You look at Bournemouth, albeit not very good now, but they've kept a lot of players from League One, and it's just pushed on, and they've gradually risen up. Sheffield United did the same.
Or Leicester when they did it.
Yeah, so Leicester came up and in a couple of years end up winning the league. Or you've now got Wolves who go from Championship. That was a huge cash injection, obviously, but done in the right way. And now you've got them in the Europa League and still up in sixth. So it's a lot of the planets aligning. But I don't think that just because a Premier League team drops down, it's necessarily a bad thing, because all of their players will have built into their contract that their wages get cut. It creates animosity. You have to worry about how many people are going, who's staying, and it's such a huge turnaround. And plus the fact, you've just been relegated, so things haven't been going well anyway. That's why so many teams can suffer. Stoke, for example, Swansea.
Yeah.
Cardiff haven't been doing well.
Yeah.
Hull kind of dropped off completely. Norwich went down for a few years. Portsmouth that's huge financial kind of Harry Redknapp's situation that led to that. But yeah, it's a mire. So we'll see what kind of happens with the talks of replays, etc., whether they get cut. But there's really not necessarily that huge, healthy kind of all the way down the ladder.
Yeah. Let me make a quick correction there as well, actually, because I cited Sunderland, and that was actually a bad example, because I've just Googled it, and their average attendance is 30,000 this season, and that's the 16th
I was going to say 12 is
highest
tiny.
That's the 16th highest in England. I think I chose a bad choice with Sunderland. They're doing better than a lot of Premier League clubs with their attendance. But yeah, I think
they're a bigger stadium than Palace. And you've got Bournemouth. Bournemouth is 11,000 capacity?
Is it really that small?
Yeah, Bournemouth's tiny.
Fucking tiny.
That's smaller than Peterborough's, yeah. I mean, so yeah, I was doing Sunderland a great disservice there, or rather their fans. But yeah, to make the jump,
I think we don't have any who listen to us anyway.
Yeah, that's probably true, yeah. But I think to make the jump, you do have to have, from League One to the Championship anyway, you do have to have owners who are willing to not maybe accept every bid that comes in for a decent player and a good scouting network. And Peterborough there, it's just, we're sort of right on the edges of doing something at the minute. I mean, I slagged them off, and they've had since I slagged them off last week, we've beat the two top teams 4-0 and 2-1, suddenly scoring goals out of nowhere.
Standard.
Really good stuff. The goalkeeper I was slagging off, making cat-like saves. I'm just like, if anyone wants me to slag off their team, just donate on the Patreon and I'll do it, no problem. And then you'll just storm to victory, no problem.
Can you slag off our keeper? That'd be great.
Yeah, I was...
It's too easy.
Yeah.
I know. Posh update on the numbers. You guys are 30% to make the playoffs, so 1-3. That's not bad.
That's heartening. Yeah, that's quite heartening.
There's a lot of teams in that conversation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of getting relegated to a lower league, let's move on to our next story. Javier Chicharito Hernandez is an LA Galaxy player now. It is a move that will afford him all the playing time he can handle, a $6 million plus salary for 3 guaranteed years, and all the luxuries that come along with living in Los Angeles. That all sounds fantastic, but sometimes, and I'm reading from Sports Illustrated here, sometimes making the call to accept the move that includes all of that isn't as easy as it may seem. Because, to quote a video that he posted of himself, a very emotional video, he said, calling his dad crying, like sobbing on the phone and crying. This was all in Spanish, but it's like the beginning of my retirement. What I mean is that we're saying goodbye to a career that we put a lot of effort on. Whether we like it or not, we are retiring from the European dream.
Fuck off.
You imagine being an LA Galaxy fan and hearing that?
Yeah, I mean, they've probably heard it loads of times from... I mean, they've heard it from Zlatan for the last year. I mean, it's very Carlos Tevez-esque, isn't it? Like, I'm done with my holiday now in China, where I got paid 600k a week. Where was he playing? Who was he? Was it from West Ham?
I don't know.
You always do this. You just close the story straight away. You're just done.
I just want to get the intro quote and then immediately close it down. Let's see. He is coming from... No, he was at Sevilla for the last 9 appearances in the past season.
That European dream has died then, Jesus Christ. It was never active. Fuck off and enjoy 2 million a year, you moaning prick.
I don't know. In Los Angeles, that's not that much money.
Oh, is that not going to get him far?
It's a very expensive city. Yeah. 2 million a year might be below the poverty line out there. I don't know.
Understood.
A Pep Guardiola quote for you gentlemen in our next story. He said that Laporte is, quote, the best left-sided central defender in the world. We missed him a lot in terms of the fast-paced headers build-up. He is an exceptional player. To which I say, well, I'm the best American Chelsea fan, Guatemalan descended, on a podcast with 2 English dudes, one of whom looks like Phil Collins and one of whom is just an asshole and refuses to change.
There's a lot of podcasts out there.
I'm not sure you can say that with any real confidence.
Because someone looking like Phil Collins and someone else being an arsehole on a podcast, yeah.
There's fucking millions of them.
Yeah, I guess. But there's so few Guatemalans, and I don't think any of them besides me know how to use technology enough to get on a podcast. So.
Well, they were getting there, but then you vomited on them.
Yeah, set them back.
No offense to all my fellow Guats out there. We're not the most technologically advanced peoples.
Get some guacamole.
Yeah. Anything really to say about that? Laporte, best left-sided center back in the world?
He's good, and City have missed him.
I'm assuming he said left-sided center back because Van Dijk is probably a right-sided center back?
I mean, he's just the defence, I guess.
All things to all people, yeah.
It's a weirdly specific way to phrase that, though, right? Like, why wouldn't he just say one of the best defenders in the world, not specifically best left-sided center back? Like,
I think he's trying to just impress maybe upon Laporte how important he is.
How Laportant he is?
How Laporte he is.
Very good. And to just make sure he does actually stay on the left. Maybe that's what it is. Keep shifting to the right. You're the best left side.
Left.
Stay on the fucking left side, prick.
Yeah, but maybe it's just a please fucking don't get injured because we are so fucked. Don't get injured, please.
He said that he might not be able to play again for a little while because he's so tired after that strenuous outing in the recent match.
The recent what game, Oscar?
The one that they won 1-0 against...
Click, 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 click.
Sheffield Wednesday.
No.
Or United, one of the two. Whichever one, it's up top.
Sheffield, Sunderland, all gone.
Well, it's just Dave, isn't it, at this point?
That's true.
Did they play in the FA Cup? Are they still in the FA Cup? I didn't watch any this weekend.
Yeah, Man City beat Fulham 4-0 in the FA Cup. In fact, the only ones that had trouble were Liverpool. 2-2 against Shrewsbury, yeah.
Wow, Liverpool can't get the fuck up, then?
Yeah. I mean, even Jesse Lingard scored for Man United.
Yeah. Exactly.
There you go. He waited until it was 2020.
Takes him playing Tranmere away at a bog. Fucking hell.
Tranmere. But this is what Liverpool do when they pick loads of under 23 players again, like they did the last round. No, that was for the League Cup. Sorry. They had like Salah and Firmino and a few others on the bench, fine. But Jurgen Klopp specifically said he would not manage the game and didn't go. So
magic of the cup,
isn't it?
I don't care about it. Like, I guess Chelsea can get the fuck up, but like...
Does it? Actually, that's a good point. As a American supporter of a British team, do you care about it at all?
Football?
No, the FA Cup specifically.
I only care about the fuck up when Chelsea are in like the semi-final or the final, and then I really hope that they can get the fuck up.
I think it's because there's so much. Do you just know how many years there are where it's like, oh, we're out of the third round. Oh, we're out of the fourth round.
Yeah.
Oh, we're out of the fifth round. I'm the same. I think until quarterfinals, or if it's like we have a really good result in like the round of 16, maybe we have a good matchup. That's when I kind of pick up. But yeah, even.
But if you get there, you want to win it. You know, you're up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea don't even really care about the fuck up because like they're just running the kids out there.
That's all you've got anyway.
The backup kids, I should say.
You played the older players. It was Pedro, Alonso. Like it wasn't even the kids.
You know what I mean, though. Like
You played the men's team.
Yeah, I guess. It's hard to find the fuck up on TV over here.
You're just keeping the story going to see how many times you can say fuck up.
Thank you. Just someone acknowledge my fuck up.
I was laughing
joke.
every time. I was laughing every time you said it.
Yeah, no, genuinely. It's a big deal when we win it, but not when we don't.
Okay.
One of those, and I don't mean that derisively. I don't when we got to the Europa League, I was like, I don't fucking care about it. I'm not going to start caring about it just because we're in the final. The FA Cup genuinely is one of those, I don't particularly care about it unless we might actually win it. Then I do care. Because when they did the league and cup double in 2010, that was a huge deal, right? That was the first and only time they've ever done that. But if you asked me without having to look it up, what years or how many times they've won the fuck up,
oh, I know, because it was a stat.
6, I think.
No, Chelsea have won the FA Cup 9 times.
9, damn, all right.
With 9 different managers.
There you go. I didn't watch yesterday's match, so that is pretty indicative, I think. I looked up the lineup and I was like, I would rather keep playing Pokemon, so.
Wow, there you go.
If Pulisic or Ruben had been in, I would have watched, but Barkley was starting. I was like, I'm not going to subject myself to 2 hours of Ross Barkley.
Still some lower league teams involved, and it'll matter to them, definitely.
Sure, absolutely. And insofar as it's their opportunity to, take down a giant, that's great.
Yeah.
But as one of the quote-unquote giants, I only care when we're playing, Man United or Liverpool or...
In the very later stages.
Yeah, the top, the big 6, honestly. Our match was against, I think, a Premier League team. Was it Hull or was it Wolves? It was one of the orange ones.
It was Hull.
Yeah, there you go. So
managed by ex-posh man Grant McCann.
There you go.
Good man.
Led us down a alleyway there, didn't we? The dead end.
I did a little bit. I'm trying to, posh have done well, so any posh alleyway I can lead you down. Oh, hang on.
Don't take me down the pot anyway.
Let's move the fuck up on to the next story, which is...
He's a dead horse. Why don't you flog it?
I thought it was a good joke. I thought of it this morning. I was like, I thought
it was a good joke the first time.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going on it. Anyway, moving on. Manchester United have been fined $20,000 for failing to control their players.
No.
They failed to ensure that their players conducted themselves in an orderly fashion, which I think just sounds like the league telling them that they're shit.
It's just so shit, we're going to take money off you.
You're supposed to have formations and play in a certain order, and you're not doing that, and it's bad.
We're trying to sell this product around the world, and you are not helping.
Yeah.
What were they fined for? Genuinely?
Genuinely failing to control their players. That's
Something happened on a pitch at some point when they were losing, and they all kicked off, and something happened.
I have the specifics of it now. I had closed the story, predictably.
Sorry, Oscar. Sorry for asking for details.
If you have a question, you got to let me know before I say the first sentence of the story.
Apologies.
The segment's called Rapid Fire News, but it's just rapid fire tab closure. That's all it is.
Yeah, you're very, very fucking quick to close the tab.
Read it, close.
I spend a week curating stories that will provide as a platform for the two of you to make hilarious jokes, and occasionally, myself when I think of one, like the fuck up. And then I close them once we're done with them. But anyway, the specifics: United admitted to breaching Football Association Rule E20 after their players surrounded referee Craig Pawson in the 26th minute of Sunday's 2-0 Premier League defeat at Liverpool. Pawson had allowed a goal by Firmino with Liverpool leading 1-0, but a foul in the build-up caused the video assistant referee to rule it out.
Oh, that? Okay. I mean, they got in his face a little bit, but you see that every week, don't you? That seems... I mean, fuck it, it's Man United. I don't care if they get fined, but,
And 20,000, that's one of those fines that's like, okay.
Yeah,
and
pointless.
Pays for an assistant, doesn't it?
It's like when I lose a $20 bill in my jacket and then I find it a year later, I'm like, oh, hey.
20? Fucking me. I'm doing that for £1.
Is that... How much is a quid? 5?
£1.
One. There's so many names. There's pound, there's sterling, there's quid.
Oh, yeah, Chuck put his jacket on, he found a monkey in the pocket.
Monkey! Half a pony.
You could say you could like throw random nouns out there and be like, yeah, that's what we call shoelaces.
Both monkey and pony are amounts of money. I don't think I could tell you how much, but...
Wait, are they actually? No, you're not. You're fucking lying.
No, monkey, no, definitely they are.
I don't believe you. I think you're fucking with me. Genuinely, like, you will not convince me that this is true.
Score is 20, 50s.
Yeah, a score is 20, yeah, absolutely.
Score is 20. I thought score was 14. No, Pat Stone is 14.
50's a pony.
50's a pony, is it? Yeah.
Monkey's 500.
Oh, I've heard the expression pony up as a, like, give me money.
Yeah, it could be.
It's probably related. We're learning things, kids. This is words, language.
I'm just using the brain Google here, and then...
I'm using actual Google. Pony is 25. A ton is 100.
Yeah, which makes no sense, because a ton is 1,000, but... grand.
They're right. It does make no sense.
A grand is 1,000, but...
Yeah, monkey's 500. Yeah, you were right with that.
Wait, monkey's a thing. What is monkey?
500 quid.
Oh, of course. Naturally. How could I...
How silly of me.
How silly of me.
Old Indian rupee banknotes had animals on them, and the 500 rupee note had a monkey on it.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's really cool, actually.
There you go. And a 25 rupee note had a pony.
There you go. Imperialism,
Bring back the empire. Bring back the empire. That's what we all say. Brexit.
There is some football. I guess we should talk about it, shall we? 40 minutes into the rapid fire news segment.
I'll cut this down to a tight 10 minutes of you making fuck up jokes.
Yeah, there you go. You can probably cut half of those. We had Villa beating Watford. No one cares. Manchester City beating Sheffield. They spanked them on XG 2.9 to 0.8, but no one really cares. Do you guys really care?
We did these fixtures.
No, we didn't do these ones.
These are the ones that happened
the midweek
the day after. You guys recorded on the 20th.
I don't know what is time. Fuck. When did we? Oh yeah, there was loads of games, wasn't there? That we didn't do.
We could literally do a load of games. Instead, we've decided to talk about Peterborough for half an hour, which I'm delighted about. Then we've gone through monetary slang for no reason.
We're only on a Premier League football podcast, and this guy's like, "Was there games?" Yes, there was a round of fixtures, an entire round.
I'd love to claim that was some sort of deliberate.
We did this, didn't we? No, we haven't been on air since then. Yep.
You guys. So I guess we don't care about City. You guys lost to Southampton 2-0.
There it is.
One?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
1.1 to 0.7 on XG.
Single worst home performance in about 6 years.
Oh, really?
Go on, tell us about it. Why was it the worst?
No.
I refuse to.
Just refuse.
Zaha got away with one, didn't he? Zaha with an eye poke on James Ward-Prowse. So
James Ward-Prowse, he's a prick.
There you go. You obviously support that wholeheartedly.
It wasn't his eye. It was his cheek. And it was when they were walking back to the tunnel. It's fine. It was half time.
Right.
It was just a little cheeky poke.
It's just... okay. Oh dear. Oscar's on punning form.
I'm also on a ton of cold medicine, so that might be...
and that went really well last time as well.
Part of it, yeah. Let's see. Everton 2, Newcastle 2. Anything there?
But the fact that it was 2-0 Everton in the 94th minute.
Yeah, that's just worth... Yeah, Newcastle with another smash and grab. We'll have that point, thank you very much.
Yeah, 0.6 on XG, so pretty deserved, I guess.
Yeah, because they done Chelsea the week before, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, and that was because they won. Yeah, they won because that would finish 1-0, thoroughly undeserved. And then Everton, they'd let Newcastle back into the game a bit, but it was 2-0 in the 93rd minute, and then substitute Florian Lejeune smacks in 2 scrambled 6-yard box.
Yeah, with Pickford 6 yards behind his own line because he's just going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
England's number 1, baby. It's
That's
funny,
hilarious.
and now I remember. It's all coming flooding back because we were slagging him off, weren't we? And we literally said on the previous pod we were talking about who should we get for England. We need a goal. We haven't had a great goalkeeper since Peter Shilton.
Yeah, we did say that because I said bring Gordon Banks back,
and then Pickford provides.
How old is Gordon Banks now? Is he still alive? Can we get him in? Can we beat that Egypt record?
I think Gordon Banks died.
Yeah, he did die. I was actually on air when he died. Yeah, that's bad of me. Should have known that. I covered the tribute. Yep, sorry about that.
Just another day in the office, I guess. Normally, this would have very strong Burnley of the Week chances at 2.1 versus 0.6 on the XG and a 2-2 draw. But I'm going to skip over Bournemouth Brighton because no one cares. The actual Burnley of the week, let's get the key.
Bournemouth finally get a win in about 8 months. We go, I'm not talking about it.
Do you actually care?
No, but that should just go in the file for teams that I slag off and then immediately do well. Because I said they were absolutely fucking dog shit last week.
I mean,
Don't say anything about Brighton. Do not say anything about Brighton and their fixtures. Leave it. Don't say it, Ian. Don't jinx it.
No.
Can you slag off Palace?
No problem. Yeah. Fucking Peterborough putting down bastards.
We are shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's cue up the jingle then, because it is time.
Oh, they're better than they ought to be.
Burnley of the week.
Despite some very strong candidates this week, there's one and only one possible way that this award was going to go. Chelsea 2, Arsenal 2, Chelsea 3.3 to Arsenal's 0.6. I have seen Arsenal's as low as 0.3 in certain places.
Yeah, I saw it that low, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen Chelsea's up in the 4s on some different models. I'm going off understat because that's one we always use.
They had 10 men for pretty much the whole game.
Yep. Agent Louise infiltrating and helping us out with the red card there.
That sleeper agent there again.
Yeah, although that one wasn't really his fault.
No, the look he shot Mustafi afterwards was like, you fucking...
It's probably the one time I've ever seen Mustafi look remorseful for a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, it got highlighted by Adam when he came on, and it's something that we've noticed. Anytime he makes a mistake, he will be the person who just starts screaming and shouting, and it will be like 100% him. But this time, his face was white. He was gaunt. Just it cut to him before they took the penalty, and he was just kind of, I've done a boo boo.
He really was.
He really fucking did. Although David Luiz didn't have to tackle the guy. Like, he could have just let Abraham have a shot. It's very much like Steve Cook the week before.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're both amazing highlights and things that will create amazing content for us. But that early in the game, like, you must have no faith in your own team that, if we go 1-0 down here, we're fucked.
Yeah, and it was a pretty tight angle. Like, honestly, Ian, we were talking about this in the group chat. Like, there's a reason that no shot is... No, not no shot, but most shots are like 0.4 XG is a very, very high chance. Because,
there's a lot of shit players out there.
Well, sure. And confirmation bias, like our brains are like, we kind of ignore the things we don't want to think about and notice the things that we do want to think about. Like, that's just how psychology works. And so we see a clear-cut chance and we're like, that should have been a goal. When, like, in reality, so many clear-cut chances don't get put away that, like, you have a 30% chance or at most like a 40% chance of actually converting.
Yeah.
And so, like, if Luis doesn't make the tackle there's like a 1 in 2 chance that, like, Tammy might miss.
Yeah. Mustafi was making his way back. Eventually, he managed to realise that he might have made a mistake and should cover.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I suppose so. But for context, I expressed surprise that the Arsenal XG was so low when Martinelli's second goal... Arsenal's second goal, but it was Martinelli, felt like a one-on-one. I mean, fair enough, I think he struck it roughly on the 18-yard line, but that felt like a higher XG shot. Yeah. Because you'd expect that to go in. But yeah, you make a fair point. I mean,
your read on the situation is not wrong. It was a very high XG chance. It's just that a very high XG chance is generally somewhere between 0.3 and 0.4.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that's going north of 0.5 is things inside the 6-yard box with the keeper out of the way, kind of thing,
Yeah, because half the time those things don't go in and you go, how the fuck did he miss that?
Yeah, there's a reason no shot is 1.0. Like, the most is like a 0.9, because, like, you'll get, Florent Maluda. Or Bakary Saka. No, what was the guy with the hair that played for Arsenal?
What, the guy with the hair? Do you mean Nwankwo Kanu?
No, Bakary was his first name. Bakary Sanya.
Yeah, no.
He missed a few really bad sitters. Or Gervinho. Remember Gervinho? Gervinho is the reason that no shot is more than 0.9.
What was his fucking name? The young kid. He played for Palace for a bit. He got 1 goal.
I mean, that could be any number of people.
That could be any of Palace's strikers in the last decade.
We're gonna get an hour through this podcast and suddenly Chuck's gonna just shout a name out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. During the listener bit. He's going to look it up, but then he's going to hold on to the name until later.
I've deleted. I'm going to rely on old brain Google here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. What do you, like, I guess I should talk about this from the Chelsea perspective. It's fucking frustrating that we keep not putting away our chances and getting quote-unquote burn lead. I think it's actually approaching the territory where we're Watfording. Yeah. More so, where we're creating the chances and just not putting them away.
You're still only 10 points ahead of Palace. That's fucking embarrassing.
I know.
For me.
But, yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, no one's making us pay for these mistakes either.
Yeah.
I look back at the projections from 538, and you can go back to old dates. And I went all the way back through the middle of November to now. And we've just been bouncing between 60 to 70%.
Yaya Sanogo.
There you go.
I've got to leave all that in.
Oh, that's right, because it was no goal, because he couldn't score.
Yes.
He's just a pun machine.
I'm just a pun machine, and I won't pun for nobody but you.
Yeah, I don't know. We floated between 60 and 70%. Like, even the lowest it got was when we almost, like the match we were going to play against Tottenham, where if they won, they would have been tied with us. We were down to 58%, and we've been above to like 72 a couple of times. But it's just been in that range. No one is really taking advantage of our slip-ups.
It is so hard to defend the Premier League right now. Enjoying watching the Bundesliga a lot. Getting BT Sport as opened my eyes to European football. Just games where there's like goals and shit.
The Bundesliga is amazing.
Erling Haaland, who has played 59 minutes and had 5 shots and scored 5 goals.
Yeah, I saw you giving him a bit of love on Twitter there. Is it good to watch?
I have a little bit of a crush on him. Even though he is a giant of a man, 6'4", brick shithouse, has the face of a baby.
Does he?
Very strange.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to look out for that.
Yeah. This is my way of saying we're stopping talking about Chelsea and Arsenal now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The Bundesliga used to be on TV here, and then they changed the fucking rights. And so now I can't really watch it anymore, but it's a ridiculously exciting league. It's so high scoring. And everybody just goes back and forth as fast as they can. And they're like, fuck, just score goals. Let's just fucking attack.
But with good players as well.
Right.
So it's like, that helps. Because I've watched Australian football, and that goes back and forth a lot. But yeah, no one can defend, and also no one can attack. It's just wild. Plus spiders, you know.
Yeah. It's slightly related to a question that I think Dave Matteo asked us ages ago, which we never actually did on the pod, which was about how, with building from the back being like a massively fashionable thing now, is it bad that teams that are fundamentally not particularly skilled, who have defenders who aren't particularly good on the ball, they're still doing that, even though it doesn't suit them at all? I mean, you've got a lot of teams doing that. Newcastle, I remember it was a good few weeks ago, Newcastle were playing Leicester, and the 2 goals they conceded were just because they were fanning about at the back, rather than just the goalkeeper seeing that, you know, I'm a League One fan, so maybe I shouldn't be sort of advocating for so much Route 1 football. But it was just like, if you can't do it, don't.
Yeah, it's mad that the rule change came in this year that meant goalkeepers from the goal kick, it didn't have to leave the 18-yard box. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Premier League teams are just as susceptible to trends and fads as, you know, regular humans are in fashion or music or whatever else, right? Like,
getting caught up in the hype, especially when the counter to that at the minute as well is that a lot of teams are very high pressing.
Right.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Right, we're going to commit to playing out for the backup. We're not very good at it. Meanwhile, everyone's just ploughing forward at us like, oh God, what do we do?
There's been so many goals scored like that this season. It's been insane.
Comes in like waves of 3 or 4 years where like some team or some foreign manager comes in. You know, it was Wenger in the early 2000s, like changed the way Arsenal played, and everyone else was like, oh shit, this is how we need to play now. Then the 4-3-3 came in with Rafa and Mourinho, and that was the thing that was dominant for like 4 or 5 years there. Then around like 2010, it switched over to the 4-2-3-1 with the double pivot and 3 across the front. I don't remember which team it was that was particularly responsible for that. I know Chelsea did it really well, but I don't think we were the ones that like that sort of came from.
We played 4-2-3-1 for a good few years, like in that kind of time. And it worked well for us.
Yeah.
It worked well for us with like Pulis and Pardew and...
Yeah, and then Antonio Conte came in and everyone switched to 3 at the back because we dominated the league that one year. And then in the season after that, like even Arsenal tried having 3 at the back, and it like did not work. Do you remember that?
Arsenal are still trying to have 3 at the back.
Well, Arsenal don't know what they're trying to do with anything really, but
they're just trying to make one defender.
Out of all of them, it'd be nice.
yeah, it's like they're trying to learn the fusion dance for any Dragon Ball fans out there. They're like, fusion! Ha! Chuck did the dance too! Yay! Oh, I'm not alone. Awesome. And since Pep came in, it's been Pep and Jurgen really actually is like playing out of the back and high pressing. And, as soon as you get the ball, you either try to score or if there's no opportunity, then you sort of switch to a possession type play.
Yeah. I genuinely think it's led to a lot of this, how the league looks at the minute. There's been so many goals conceded like that. I just feel like it's really been a sort of leveller.
I wonder what the next thing is going to be. I don't see it right now. I don't see anyone that's like playing. Usually, like, if you keep your eye on Europe, there's a manager that's like doing exciting things and then they'll come to the Premier League.
Not Sheffield United with the mad centre-backs attacking situation.
That's really interesting, and I would love to see like an elite level talent team. Like,
I suppose it's kind of it goes hand in hand with what Liverpool are doing now, and probably why they're doing so well is that, like, we spoke before about centre midfield being so important, right? And like having a good core 3, but that's where like the creativity come from. But Liverpool don't really have that. Obviously, to say they're not creative is stupid, but it's much more of a solid just to kind of hold everything in. And then it allows everything to come through the fullbacks naturally, which is why Alexander-Arnold's got 1 billion assists and 1 billion goals this year. And same, Robertson chips in a lot because that's how they allow it. So maybe more teams will try and play for that. I don't know. Go for even more attacking fullbacks and just somehow spend 75 million quid on the best defender in the world.
I don't like that. I miss the days when everything was through the middle. You had a midfield 3 with a fucking general, a reducer, and a box-to-box.
A reducer.
That's what I miss.
Basically.
Yeah.
Shithouse.
A skulls.
Yeah, there we go.
Breaking ankles left and right. Like Essie and Ballack Lampard, right? That's like my all-time favorite Chelsea team. That midfield 3 gives me a fucking hard-on to talk about and think about. And now, I genuinely really like Jorginho, and I think Barkley and Ruben actually would have been good back in the day. He fits in that type of system. But like, I like the ball through the middle. I like a central midfielder. Whenever I make like a player mode in FIFA, I always am a central midfielder who's tall and loves running, And now it's like everything's up the wings. Everything's up the side.
Terrible bronchitis, though. Terrible bronchitis.
Yeah.
You do tend to miss 5 to 6 weeks every season with your bronchitis.
It's true. I don't know. I miss the days. I sound like an old man, like proper football, but I miss the days of like a strong central midfield.
You did for a bit there. I was quite surprised for a little
you
while.
got very Brexity.
Yeah.
Very Brexity.
I just want a reducer to go around fucking smashing everyone.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
All right, well, speaking of very Brexity, Burnley did Burnley, but they didn't Burnley of the week.
Yeah, don't care.
They Burnleyed Man United. But 1.3 on XG to 0.8, Burnley getting a 2-0 victory.
And the first time they've won at Old Trafford since like 1968 or something mental like that.
So I do love when Burnley against a team I hate. It's funny. And actually that mattered a lot for Chelsea because we dropped points. So if United had won, it would have been back in the conversation.
This just absolute shit race.
Yeah, pretty much. Leicester won 4-1 against West Ham. That's what happens when Chicharito's not there anymore. West Ham can't score goals.
Yeah, West Ham are having a real wobble at the minute.
It's almost like getting David Moyes back in wasn't a good idea.
I forgot about that.
No, They are. They're really looking iffy, and they've got tough fixtures coming up as well. Could be, and I mean, it doesn't take much to drop into the relegation zone now. So
everyone's in the relegation zone. There's 12 teams in the bloody relegation zone.
They've got to watch themselves. They really have.
West Ham are the 4th most likely and basically tied with the 3rd most likely for relegation. West Ham are 38%, Villa are 40%.
I mean, yeah, they've got the game in hand, but that's against Liverpool, so job done. And they're only out of the relegation by goal difference now. So if they lose by like 3 or more goals, I don't know, it'd be 4 goals, I think. Yeah, 4 goals. They'll be 18th at the end of the game week. So
Tottenham won. I don't care. Fuck them. It's probably too little too late for them.
Against who?
Norwich.
Thank you. Just wanted to say it. Get the
a little
sound
extra phlegm in there to make it nice and spicy.
Yeah, didn't appreciate that.
Yeah. And then on the Thursday match, Liverpool with an undeserved win. So,
Oh, that was a fun game.
Yeah, Liverpool 2, Wolves 1. Wolves 1.9 to Liverpool's 1.2. Some XG models had it closer than that. But actually, you know what? This is a good opportunity to bring something up that Chuck and Ian, we had talked about in the group chat.
I told you, don't tell anyone about that rash.
No, Ian, you watched this TV special about Liverpool, right? And like their back office and all the mathematicians and crazy things that they have going on.
Well, yeah, weirdly, it was nothing to do with football. It was one of the, I hadn't got around to watching. I always watch them with Finley, the Royal Institution Christmas lectures that are usually like sciencey. They did one this year which was maths based, and they had a mathematician from Liverpool FC, and he's one of 5 who are employed by Liverpool on their books, and he was going through like XG stuff like to kids, and I was like, this is mental. I sort of put it on expecting someone blowing up some balloons or something with methane or whatever. They do all sorts of shit at the Royal Institution Christmas lectures, but like suddenly I was being lectured to about XG. I was like, I go to Oscar for this. I don't need it here. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and that is kind of what I was trying to get at, is that I've spent a lot of time this year being like, fuck Liverpool. They win all these games undeserved. They're so lucky. They're overperforming their numbers, etc. And that is very much true because they're literally 20 points above their expected points. Like, that's not just skill, but there is something to be said about their analytics team because they are by far the biggest analytics team in the Premier League. And that comes from the fact that they're owned by a baseball team. Like, they're owned by the Red Sox, by the Fenway Sports Group. So in baseball, everybody knows Moneyball, sabermetrics, all that sort of stuff. Like, they're very advanced.
I've watched that film.
Yes, it's also a way of looking at recruitment and teams and stuff. And I think that we should give Liverpool some credit that the way that they run themselves behind.
What a fucking stupid kind of statement.
No.
We should give Liverpool some credit.
Let me finish my sentence. We should give them some credit in as far as the way that they overperform their numbers. It's not just pure luck, because the way that they run their club, they are getting little edges and little advantages by using high-level math, 5 mathematicians, all that stuff. And so, like, when you understand the numbers that well and XG and, I'm sure they were talking about expected possession value added and all that sort of stuff, you're gonna get, when you understand it, you're gonna find ways to sort of game it and go above it and sort of push beyond what other teams can do. And so, like, it makes sense to me that they would overperform. No, they're not overperforming by 20 because of that. But some of those 20 points do come from, like, they're not an accident. Yeah. It's how they're run, Of
course. And, I mean, a lot is said about, like, marginal gains at the top level. Like, you only need to be getting small edges to make the difference. I mean, last year it was the title was won by 1 point. So, yeah, it was interesting that they've got these 5 mathematicians working things out, how to get edges all the time. They've got, it's sort of come out this week that they've got a throw-in coach. And a lot of people have been taking the piss out of that and saying it's ridiculous. But Klopp doesn't do stuff that he doesn't need to do. And I've pulled up something here that says the average possession retained from throw-ins is only 48.6%, which seems ridiculous to me. So less than half the time you're keeping possession from a throw-in. But Liverpool's retention of possession from throw-ins is 68.4%. That's ridiculously high in comparison to the average. That sort of thing means you're keeping possession more often. I mean, it's these little gains that make a difference.
I couldn't agree possibly more. I saw a clip of a guy being like, "Oh, fucking throw-in coach."
It was Andy Gray.
Yeah, fucking idiot. And I was like, well, this is why I hate, like...
Have you encountered Andy Gray before?
Wait, no, it wasn't Andy Gray.
No?
There was another one.
Oh, he has done that. Okay, fine. The one I saw was Andy Gray.
I don't know who it was, but...
Gibbon Mitts?
I guess apparently more than one person had the same reaction.
I don't know. I just go through the usual scrotes.
Yeah, the usual bellends.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so I guess what I want to say is that as much as I talk shit about Liverpool, like, I do want to take the time to say that some of that is not an accident.
Yeah.
And it's almost a perfect storm because, like, yeah, they're owned by a baseball team and they have a German guy as their manager. And the German league, the Bundesliga, also highly believes in the value of mathematics and analytics. And they have huge staffs like that. So, actually that might be what Posh needs to do. Just hire some mathematicians. You don't have to pay them very much at all.
Counting, innit? Oscar, you can count. Like, you go there.
Yeah.
You're like a number man.
I'm real good at counting. All right, so let's take a break, and we'll come back with a good amount of listener stuff, which I'm very excited to get into.
Welcome back to the Miles Offside podcast. It's time now to come with me and we'll be in a world of fantasy Premier League. Yeah, we're still in a game week, aren't we? And we still will be in a game week when this comes out because Liverpool have got that really late second game in this double game week that has overall been incredibly underwhelming again because no Liverpool players did anything or they got injured.
Speak for yourself, but I'm triple captaining Trent, who got an assist, so I'm pretty happy with that because at least it's some return and another match.
Yeah, we triple captained Mane.
On the pod team?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That is rough.
As did a lot of people. FPL Twitter had a bit of a meltdown.
I really enjoyed it when it happened.
Yeah, me too.
I remember suggesting Trent in the Gafferazzi group chat, and at least one person was like, "You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about." Obviously, it should be Mane. And I was like, I don't know. It seems like a pretty reasonable
Are you trying to say it's
suggestion
me? Is it me?
It was Chuck. You immediately were like, what kind of idiot triple captain's a defender? And I'm like, Trent is literally like the best player right now.
I don't know.
Should have gone Firmino.
I captained Firmino, yeah, in my normal team, yeah.
Is this game week coming up the one that's like actually 3 weeks long, or is that the one after?
Good point. No, that's after.
That's the one
it's the
after.
one through mid-February where,
Yeah.
one game week covers 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Mad.
2 weekends.
So we are currently on 36 points because we had a 4-point hit, obviously, for probably some stupid shit transfer. Can't remember.
Always the same.
Our team, good old Nick Pope getting 10 points. Robertson, 1 point. Brandon Williams, why have we got... Man, why we've got two. Brandon Williams, 1 point. Martial, 2 points. Vardy, dead, 1 point. Ings, nothing, 1 point. Couldn't even score against Palace. Shit. Raul Jimenez gets 8. Oh, Snodgrass, 1. Oh, he's got another game. Great. Yellow, injured.
Yellow flag, yeah.
Mane, triple captain, 3. Brilliant. Oh, he's got another game. Injured. And Kevin De Bruyne with 7 points. Amazingly, even though with that crap, we're still above the average.
That low, is it?
Yeah, 34 is currently the average.
Which with our points hit, we're 2 above that. So
Maths.
not bad. See, I told you I'm good at numbers.
Yeah. Traore on the bench after he played pinball with all of Liverpool's midfield for about 20 minutes. That was good fun, watching people literally bounce off of him. So leads us to our suggestion, which we have to make a suggestion before the game week's finished. So, Ian, why don't you thoroughly underwhelm us with your terrible, boring suggestion?
Oh, good. You've got my intro down then.
Don't need a jingle, just an accurate statement.
Style, isn't it? Yeah. It is going to be boring, but we've got Willems, who is out for the season, so he's going to go. I think Sheffield United got some decent fixtures, so let's double up and go to O'Connell.
Okay. Willems or Williams? Very similar. Both probably should get rid of.
Yeah, possibly. No. Yeah, so I'll get rid of the guy who is out for the season rather than the guy who just probably won't play that much this season once he realises that Luke Shaw's probably better.
Luke Shaw's not better than anybody.
He might be better than Brandon Williams.
It's Man United. Okay, Oscar, what's your suggestion that's just going to win?
It's not. It's not
What's
at all.
your hit this week?
Yeah, what's your another point hit?
No, I'm not. No points hit, actually. This late in the year, team value is really important as we want to have funds up for the big double game weeks coming down the line and all that. So I'm worried about Mane. Everyone rage transferring him out after all the triple captains and the injury and all that. So I think we also should sell so that we don't lose value tied up in him.
Okay.
And I'm going to suggest a sneaky biased choice because we don't have any Chelsea players. So I'm going to say Willian because Willian has been lights out for us. One of our few consistently good players, consistently returning points. And that also will free up money so that we can bring in Aguero next week.
Thank God finally there's a suggestion for Oscar that won't win. Oh my God.
I told
There's
you.
no way. If people vote to get Willian,
He's been good.
Williams Wish Wellingtons into our team, that would just be... I'd just delete the team and give up.
I'm quite surprised that you've done a transfer that will get you about 4 million quid and then not decided to instantly hit and spend that 4 million quid.
I'm trying to like not suggest a points hit every week.
Yeah, that's a shame.
But that's with an eye on next week bringing in Aguero.
Okay. Chuck, what about you?
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Going wildcard, didn't I?
Oh, fucking hell.
I hate this team.
I thought you were going to say roll the transfer, like if it ain't broke. I was like, our team is very broke. What are you talking about?
Yeah, more myself. I will keep on going. Obviously, we are in the era of uncertainty with Vardy with his gluteal injury and Mane with whatever happened to him. Then we've got Willems, who is out for the season, as we said. Snodgrass, who was a bit of a punt anyway and seems to be injured as well because he got subbed off at half-time, I think, against Leicester. And we've got 2 Man United players, and I just don't like it. And so I want a fresh start, cleansing, because I think like someone like Lundstrom as well, he's just stuck in our team. And I think he's stuck in a lot of teams, and it's kind of
he's stuck in mine.
Coming round that you don't want to drop him because you've got so much money invested in him. But ultimately, if that money isn't making you points...
Yeah, it only takes a few of them players to be out for a couple of weeks, and I'm fully behind the wild card.
Yeah.
I would also think a wild card is good, except that I'm inclined to want to save it for the doubles.
No.
It's the time of year where I'm just like nesting
but
for
that's the problem.
doubles.
Look at what has happened. There's been 2 double game weeks so far, right? Like small ones, obviously, just for like 1 or 2 teams. And both of them have been
usually
shit.
2.
No, you know what I mean. Like 1 or 2 teams that you would actually have players from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been just like you get blinded in saving up and going for those, and it's just you're putting all your eggs in one basket and you keep missing. It's something that always cheating guys have noticed, that you come kind of blinded by the double game week, and I think that's fair.
There's something in it, definitely.
Yeah, but the late ones are the ones with like 7 teams.
Of course, but if you hold your wild card for so long, there's a potential you could miss tons of points between
That's
them,
true.
and you've then not got many game weeks because it's looking like it's like game week 34 or maybe even like 36, 37.
It's usually 34 and 37.
So then you've got like 2 weeks worth of wildcarding. It's not really good. So now we're at the kind of tail end of the season. We're going to get less fixture congestion. So I think now is a good time, kind of ahead of the curve, game week 25, get a wild card in, build a team, because then we can kind of have some planning and work towards having those players in.
Yeah, there is something to be said for that, because the big blank is going to be game week 31, so you can free hit in that.
Free hit.
And then you've got a good few weeks until 36 or 37, whichever the big double is, and you can then, like you say, use your transfers to get there for a bench boost.
Exactly. So for fuck's sake, pick my fucking option.
Right. Okay. Let's get out of this mire of bullshit, and let's do some listener bullshit.
Oh,
Sam Danby on the Slack, the Patreon Slack, patreon.com/milesoffsidepod, if you want to become a member of that. He suggests he's got a few questions for us. We'll start off with football ones. So, when do you think Liverpool are going to confirm this title?
About 12 weeks ago?
They are greater than 99% on 538.
It's done.
But like officially, I'm assuming.
I'm guessing it
like
must mean officially, yeah.
They've got 9 more games until it's 49 games unbeaten, which is then equaling the Invincibles. Just saying, game 48, Palace. Keep an eye on that one, guys. For when Liverpool win again. And I think it's... When can they... I saw something about this. I think it's March. I think it's mid-March that they can actually have won the league, potentially. But obviously that then means that Man City just have to keep losing. But at the minute, if they go 19 games ahead, then they'll win it in what, game week 32?
Right, check this out. Saturday, 4th of April, Man City, Liverpool. And that's when they do it.
Which is perfect then, because that's game week 32.
Game week 32, there you go.
If they keep the points difference they've got now until then, on Saturday, 4th of April, Man City will have to give them the Guard of Honour. Because Liverpool would have already won the league, and it's at the Etihad.
That'd be delightful. So if they keep this,
if they
stay with each other,
if they beat West Ham, they beat West Ham, inevitably destroy West Ham, and they get 19 points ahead.
Yeah.
The Man City game will be after there are then 6 games left, which is 18 points maximum possible. Therefore, job done. So Liverpool need to match Man City's results exactly so that the gap stays above, 19 or 20 points, either way. And that way, Guard of Honour at the Etihad, April the 4th.
Lovely old job. Adam P. on the Twitters. With Valentine's Day coming up, which footballer would you trust to plan your special night?
Okay, you hear me out on this.
Oh.
Diego Maradona.
Hear me out. The guy who looks like he's having the most fun pretty much consistently is David Luiz. And I think he'd be a real good fucking time. And I think that he's got a bit of romance in him, he's a bit of a hopeless romantic, just from different quotes I've seen him do. His motto is love the life. Like, that's just what he says everywhere.
Live the life. Live the life.
Live the life, love the life. And so I think that he could plan like a really fun date. You know what I mean? Like, he'd do something out of the box. It wouldn't just be like dinner at a restaurant. It would be something weird but fun.
Are you going out with him? Because I think he's.
I would love to.
I think he's supposed to be planning
this question is just right in Oscar's weird man crush wheelhouse.
He's supposed to be planning something for you and Emily, I think, but you're talking like you're going out with him.
It's not just me, for the record, because his song at Chelsea included the lyric, "Oh, David Luiz, you are the love of my life, oh, David Luiz, and that you shag my wife, oh, David Luiz." Like, that was his song at Chelsea.
Are you saying your ideal date ends with David Luiz shagging Emily?
No. I'm saying that was his song, so I'm not the only one who thinks he's very, very romantic and cool and fun. I just want him to plan a date for me and him. Emily's not invited. She's nowhere near this date. This is just me and her. Me and him.
Sounds like you're the her in this situation.
No, if I was going on a date with someone, it would be either Michael Ballack or Ruben Loftus-Cheek. But I just think he would plan a fun date.
If you Google a sex tape, then Alison Becker could plan a good night. He looks like he can plan a very good night.
Oh yeah, big fan of his sex tape.
For legal reasons, I should say, it's probably not the sex tape.
And for marital reasons, you should probably say, I definitely haven't watched one.
I haven't watched the sex tape. I've never seen it. Got no idea.
This took a strange turn.
Let's go back to Sam Danby then. Where's the world going to be in 2050?
Fuck if I know, I'm dead.
Future predictions. You think you're going to be dead by then?
Gone, yeah. Not me. What would that be? 58. Yeah, no, done. 59. How old am I? 29. Yeah, I'll be 59.
I'll be 62. That's about when I want to croak. 60 good years.
Ian, can you count that high?
Ian's like, what the fuck? 60 good years? That was 30 years ago.
Exactly. I always warn Kelly that I'm going to die way before her anyway. I'm a borderline alcoholic who's worked shifts all his life. I'm fucked. Yeah. I'm going to be dead by now.
Rack up debt. Rack up debt.
Yeah.
Here you go, son. Burden.
You're the man of the house now. I don't care that you're only 12.
What's your position on that? Like, do you guys want them to sort of move on and find love again? Or is it like, no?
What fucking turn is this taking?
Well, he said when I die, Kelly's going to die a long time later. So in those following years, do you want her to remarry and find someone else? Or do you want her to be like sad and mourning you for the rest of her life?
I mean, if she's like 70, then I'll go with sad and mourning for the rest of her life. If I died tomorrow, then I'd be, as long as there was like, to take Austin Powers, as long as there was like a 10-minute period where she was inconsolable, then after that she can move on, that's fine. Anyway, this took a turn.
Wow.
What do you think the world's going to be like in 2050?
Horrible. Just like this conversation.
Yeah.
Everything's going to shit. Actually, fine. Let's get serious for a second. Last night, me and Emily watched one of those like 2019 in review videos.
Yeah.
We thought it would be like, wacky and fun on YouTube, and it very decidedly was not. And both of us were like, had tears in our eyes by the end of it. Not like crying, but like, it was upsetting. And to take the long view of 2019 and just see all the different things that were developing around the entire world, and all the different protests and all the different political leaders that are resigning or getting impeached or all this other stuff, like, it became very, very apparent that we are on the edge of like a major, major turning point in human history. Like, it's going to be really fascinating to study this 50 years from now, in 2050, looking back on this era. The 2020s is going to be like the 30s or the 60s, where there was just like these sweeping, massive changes all around the world. And I think that Like, genuinely, they're idiots. But, so like, all right, rewind for a second. We're millennials, all of us. And I think that
just about, yeah.
we are a depressed generation, like fucking horrible and miserable and sad all the time as a generation because we grew up thinking the world was going to be great. The 90s were this amazing time for the economy, for technology, for all this stuff. And then the 2000s came, and like for American people, like I was 12, 13 when 9/11 happened, and then the Iraq War and all this other shit, like the big great world recession that happened right after that. Like the world has been garbage since about the year 2000, but we grew up in the 90s and late 80s thinking it was going to be great. And so we're fucked beyond belief as a generation because of that, on top of like all the economics of like the world fell apart right when we hit adulthood and we'll never recover. But my reason to say that is that Gen Z, the generation right after us, grew up. What's the line about Bane? They were born in the darkness. We merely adopted it.
They were born in the darkness.
Yeah. They understand that the world is garbage because that's the only world that they've ever known. But they're like, all right, move on. Let's fix it. So like the idea of being like biased or horrible to each other is very strange to them. They're all just like, yeah, the world sucks and we're depressed, but we got to live in it. So let's just make the most. And I think that they're going to come in and when they hit their own as a generation, which we're starting to approach that because they're in their late teens to almost 20-ish, it's going to be fucking crazy. I think they're going to do amazing things. I think we're fucked. I think millennials are just going to be fucked until we die. But I think this next generation is like really cool. I think they're going to do some really cool stuff when they stop eating Tide Pods and TikToking or whatever the fuck they do for fun. Like, I genuinely think they're going to fucking come in and like save the world. And we're just going to watch them and be like, we're really sad, but thanks someone for saving it because we got fucked by the boomers.
Yeah.
And
it's good because then it means we don't have to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
That's why you have a child.
They're coming into adulthood right as the boomers are on their way out. And so, like, finally the fucking boomers are out of the way. And fuck them. And then these kids come in and they're like, we don't have to deal with the boomers the whole time we're adults.
And the irony is, they're the new boomers. And the cycle continues.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Because the boomers in the 60s were the ones that changed everything and were like, you know, their parents were like, get a job, put on real clothes, stop, blah, blah, blah. And now they're like, at us and Gen X, they're like, stop whining about everything. But so, like, I don't know. Fuck boomers. Anyway, that was a 10-minute rant about this, but I've been thinking about it a lot. I think the world's going to be great in 2050 because I think Gen Z is going to fucking crush it when they hit adulthood. What about you guys?
Well, I'm on a website called futuretimeline.net, and there's loads of websites like this that do predictions about things that are going to happen. And some of these predictions go like 100 years into the future, but they're like weirdly specific. So this one says like 2025. Some of Britain's most well-known animal species are going extinct. Loads of butterflies, squirrels, whatever.
Big cats in the north.
2025. Solid waste is reaching crisis levels. Fucking hell.
Yeah, we're building a new continent in the Pacific Ocean, so...
You're building a new continent?
Do you know about the giant plastic island?
Yeah, of course, sorry.
It's the size of, like, maybe the size of Africa.
Yeah.
They don't know how big it is. It's so big.
Maybe just go, like, get a net or something. Has anyone thought of that?
Good point.
Has anyone thought of just picking it up?
But there's this kid, speaking of Gen Z, there's this kid who invented a bacteria that eats plastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that won't backfire in some horrible way. But, like, genuinely, instead of trying to clean up the plastic, let's find something that actually destroys it. And boom.
And then grows to be bigger than all of us and becomes our rightful overlord.
2031, chocolate has become a rare luxury. As rare and expensive as caviar, a single bar costing $10 to $15.
Shit, get all the chocolate you can right now. 10 more years of chocolate, huh?
2050, here we go. Humanity is at a crossroads. Nearly exactly what you said, Oscar. Yeah, no, that's not exactly. Nearly half of the Amazon rainforest has been deforested.
Only half? That's pretty good.
Yeah. Wildfires have tripled in some regions.
Wildfires are still burning in Australia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, fuck off. No, this is bad. Traditional wine industries have been severely altered by climate change. Fuck me.
Oh, that would just mean the old world wines.
Oh, so we'll be able to do wine here, won't we?
New world will be good.
Okay, good. That's fine then.
Yeah, I mean, the UN put out a report. I'm trying to find it exactly so I get the year right. But they put out a report about how, like, all of the fish, not, like, some of the fish, all of the fucking fish, there it is, all saltwater fish will be extinct by 2048, according to the United Nations. Not some random website. The fucking UN said that fish are going to be extinct by 2048. So by 2050, it'll be a world without fish.
On the plus side, in 2058, the Beatles' music catalogue will enter the public domain. So, swings and roundabouts.
There you go. You win some, you lose some.
Exactly. Oh, dear. God, this is depressing. What a terrible question.
Let's talk about farts and socks.
Oh, I didn't know it'd go this way. I thought I'd read this and there'd be some positivity, but there's nothing. Oh, 2079, asbestos production is ending globally. So,
how is it taking
we're
that
still
long?
building that shit?
I know, what is that about?
Production.
Stop making asbestos.
Stop making it. It
now.
kills people. Stop. Get it out of that bridge in Peterborough. Get it out.
The railway bridge in Peterborough is...
I honestly assumed that they had already stopped. Who's still making asbestos? Stop doing that.
Who hasn't got the
Fucking
memo
shit.
yet?
Oh my god. I'm like having a breakdown over here. I genuinely thought that we had to stop making that shit. Apparently it's not going to be for another 100 years almost.
Apparently not. I mean, there is good. 2099, the average employee will work less than 20 hours per week.
Oh, fucking hell, I can't wait that long.
No.
I do more than that in a day.
But West Antarctica will be one of the fastest developing regions in the world because suddenly there'll be all that land under the ice that's no longer
Yeah, because
there.
the rest of the land will be underwater like New York and London.
Yeah.
Oh, so we all get to move to the South Pole. That's cool.
That arid desert climate in the South Pole.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, let's move on. That was more depressing than I realised. Adam P. asks, what's the best childhood school dessert?
Was that a thing over there? We just got Jell-O cups all the time.
Cake with a pink icing, the square one.
Hang on, I want to go back to what Oscar said there. What you just had... This is like dinners that you have at school. You just had one dessert all the time.
We didn't have dinner at school.
Bit like a cafeteria, and they provide the food. It's not just bring your own lunch.
At lunch, yeah.
It's called school dinners. Yeah, okay, I get what you mean.
Oh,
right.
no, I thought you meant they were feeding you for dinner at school. I was like,
No,
fuck, how late are you
okay,
at school?
sorry. Yeah, that's just colloquialism or whatever. But yeah, we call them school dinners. But yeah,
We call them
it's at
school lunch.
lunchtime.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Our two options were either pudding or Jell-O, both of them made by the Jell-O company, pretty much everywhere.
Pudding.
Blimey.
Probably not what you call pudding. Do you have a different pudding over there?
Yeah, but in America, it just means that gelatinous.
It's more like a yogurt, but chocolate flavored.
Mm.
It's the same consistency.
So there was no variation at all, really.
No. Jell-O, red Jell-O.
We sometimes get jelly, but maybe with a bit of whipped cream on top. There was a pink cake. It was just a generic pink cake that's everywhere. It was square. I think it's called Tottenham cake.
Tottenham cake?
Oh, Adam won't have liked that then.
No, it definitely won't have like that.
I've never heard of that.
You could just put any two words together and tell me it's a British food, and I would be like, okay.
Oh yeah, Tottenham cake. There you go.
Yeah.
Pink topped. Classic British tray bake. Created in the 1800s in North London. Topped with raspberry icing and desiccated coconut. Fuck me, there you go.
Yeah, that was nice. Although we didn't get the desiccated coconut.
I used to like cornflake tart, which was like a pastry base, layer of jam, and then cornflakes and a sugar glaze on top of it.
What?
Never had cornflake tart?
No.
No? Is that going to be one of them East Anglian things that I assumed everyone had?
I think so. I thought Tottenham cake. There was just a generic pink cake everywhere.
It would appear that there's much variation to your school dinner desserts.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I am right. Cornflake tart is a thing. There you go.
What about Turkish Delight? That's what the kid likes in Narnia, right?
That's a sweet.
Do not like Turkish Delight.
Do you not like it?
No, not a fan. Not a fan.
I like Turkish Delight. Yeah, Turkish Delight it's kind of like a harder jelly cube. So it is like a sweet, like a soft candy kind of thing. But so it's similar to jelly but harder. It will be covered in powdered sugar, and predominant flavour will always be rose, but then there'll also be lemon and some other stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the Fry's Turkish Delight, which is that, but coated in chocolate. But that's not a dessert. You wouldn't have Turkish Delight for dessert.
Wait, so what? Over here, dessert mostly just means a sweet thing you eat after your dinner.
Yeah, but it's like a dish. If you said a certain cake, you could say that's a dessert, but you wouldn't just say...
people wouldn't call candy dessert.
Yeah, no. A bar of chocolate isn't dessert.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like
that's
the
fair.
definition.
My mum was a cook at a nearby school, not my school, and she always did the puddings at that school. And then, but the thing is, because she cooked for like hundreds of kids every day, when she came home, she could never bring down her portion like control. So like she'd cook for fucking 30 people, and I would have like ridiculous amounts of like pudding that would just last for ages because it was like, yeah, tray bakes of cornflake tart and Tottenham cake if she'd have known what it was.
Figgy pudding.
You've got to get over this.
No
figgy
one's
pudding.
ever had figgy pudding.
It's in the Christmas song. That's why it must exist.
No one's had it since the 1800s. It's not a thing.
You guys are not known for changing very much. So if it was a food in the 1800s, it's a high possibility that you're still eating it.
There's this one Christmas song that you've latched onto and decided that we all eat. It's just not a thing.
Yep. That's how it works. We hear one thing about you guys and we're like, everyone must do that. Everyone wears a top hat, right?
This is like how Japanese people think the Americans eat KFC on Christmas.
I would. Totally.
I know you
problem.
would, but you don't.
That sounds great. Can I have KFC on Christmas?
If it's open, I guess. You have it. Treat yourself.
You do it, mate.
But no, I don't remember desserts from
No?
school, really. No, I just used to buy loads of... Because when I was in secondary school, it was right around the time of Jamie Bastard Oliver, and everything got more expensive and everything got more healthy, and you couldn't just buy 9 bags of crisps
You
for
were at
90p.
school when all that was happening?
Yeah, I was in my second year of secondary school, I think.
Oh, wow.
Ian was retired, which is why he feels very old right now.
Yeah, that was when the turkey Twizzlers went away.
Oh, wow.
This is like that conversation we had where we realized that Ian was 15 when Chuck was 8,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah?
That was the age gap there. So like very, very much not a child versus very much still a child.
I was still a child. I'm
Yeah.
fairly sure I was.
Well, sure, I guess. Sometimes those 7 years feels like a lot.
Yeah.
And apparently this is one of those because he's like, Jamie Oliver, that fuck. I was at a bar complaining about him and you were still like in diapers, basically.
Yeah.
That's what that was. Like, that's definitely what that was.
Yeah. I didn't realise I knew someone who was at school when that was all happening. Like, it does sort of feel like a bit of a moment, that.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Sam Danby asks, what cars do you drive and why? Well, Chuck, you've just started your driving lessons. So what have you been driving? You said it was a Toyota
Yeah.
Summit or other. Was it a really little one or was it... It wasn't an iGo, like a really tiny one,
No, it
was
wasn't like a...
No.
I can't remember what it was, actually. To be fair, I didn't look. It was red, because I started learning about 12 years ago. And then
Slow learner.
stopped. Huh?
I said, wow, you're a slow learner.
No, fuck you. I'm very good at it. And then, so I hadn't been driven a car for 12 years. Yeah, I was 17. And yeah, I was alright. But then I drove that was a Citroen C1 before, so that was a small car.
That was a tiny one, yeah.
But this one was a bit bigger. It was alright, yeah. Driving. Next week I've got like 20 hours booked.
Bloody hell, so you're going intensive then?
Oh yeah, I'm doing it properly. I can drive. It's easy, innit? Just forward, backward, don't hit anyone.
Yeah.
Well, other than the luxury car companies, there's very little overlap in like the regular car companies that you guys drive versus we drive. Your cars are obviously much smaller and fuel efficient.
It's just better
Whereas
for the
we're
planet.
still assholes. Yeah, I know. We're still, So I don't think most of the working class, for lack of a better word, cars would translate particularly well. But Ian, what are you driving?
Well, ridiculously, the car I drive to and from London every day and put 36,000 miles a year on is a Renault Clio. Tiny little Renault Clio, because it's one of the most fuel efficient things I could buy. So
There you go. Do you guys use diesel over there or
Yeah.
unleaded?
yeah, diesel.
Yeah, see, no one uses diesel over here.
No one really?
There's a diesel pump, but I've never been inside a diesel car.
Huh.
Not once. My brother accidentally put diesel into my mom's car once
Oh dear.
and fucking destroyed her.
Yeah, I
car.
bet. Yeah. Jeez.
This was recently. This wasn't like when he was a teenager. This was like within the last 2 or 3 years. And he was borrowing her car to take his kids somewhere. And he just wasn't, when you have 3 boys all under the age of 6, you're generally pretty frazzled.
No doubt. Yeah.
And so he just pumped fucking diesel into her car.
Oh my god. Yeah, that must have
Jesus.
destroyed it.
It was expensive to fix it.
But you can put the opposite is like it's not good, but it's nothing in
You
comparison,
can get
right?
away with a little bit especially if you realise and then dilute it with diesel afterwards.
No, but I mean,
you can get away.
Putting unleaded in a diesel engine isn't as bad, but
Yeah.
the other one just fucks it, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, no, diesel. I'd say there's probably more diesel than petrol cars here.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've heard that about Europe, so that's why I asked. And that's also partially, I think, why the car companies are so different.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Chuck is driving a red car maybe because he's learning.
Definitely red.
Ian drives a Citroen.
No, Renault Clio.
Citroën?
Although
Renault.
the family car, Kelly's got the much bigger car. So she drives a big luxurious car about fucking 5 minutes down the road, and I drive a tiny little thing 90 miles to London.
And for the fuel efficiency, that's why you like yours, right?
Yeah, it's
that was part of the question.
purely bought for fuel efficiency, yeah.
Okay. Well, I drive a 2005, I think, 2006 Toyota Corolla and the reason is because it fucking refuses to die. I want a nicer car, but I can't justify it until this fucking old piece of shit.
I hate that.
So it's just hanging on, man. Every time I take it, I'm like, is it almost dead? And the mechanic's like, no, it's doing great. You're going to get another 100,000 miles out of it. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. Can you just damage it and not tell me?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Because I want a Tesla. I want a fucking Tesla so bad.
Oh, wow, really? Could you make the jump to a Tesla? They're fucking expensive, man.
On a lease, yeah, which I think is...
right, okay.
You said people don't really lease over there that much?
No,
but
it's
over here, a lot of people do.
becoming more of a thing, definitely.
It's definitely very much a thing over here. I'd say it's like maybe 50-50.
Over here, it feels like a way for people to get cars they can't actually afford.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you get a nicer car every few years
yeah.
instead of like a Toyota for 20 years.
Yeah.
Because it won't fucking die.
The thing is, you're talking to a man who does 36,000 miles a year. I ain't getting a lease anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I timed it, and it was 6.5 minutes door to door to work the other day.
Fuck.
And there is an office on the other end of the building where I have meetings regularly from where my room is. And I walked from my room to that room down the other end of the building, and it was more than half of my door-to-door commute home.
Oh, for God's
It was like 4 minutes to get to that office for the meeting, and it's 6.5 to get home. 7, usually.
Such an inconvenience.
Yeah, so I can definitely, like, leasing and miles is, like, not an issue at all.
For context, it's now 10:30 at night when we're recording. I have to be up at 2 o'clock because I am doing the early shift, and I have to be in London at 4 a.m. So I have to be up in 3.5 hours to drive to
This
London.
is Ian's way of saying, hurry the fuck up.
Yeah, let's move on.
So let's get the fuck on with
That makes
this.
I have to be up at... Well, I've got a slightly later start tomorrow. I only have to be up at 6 to get to work for 8. So
Oh, it's fine. I'll be back in Peterborough by lunchtime, tucked up in bed for a lovely little afternoon nap.
having a little wank in front of Trisha.
Was it 1998? And I apparently fancy Trisha.
I don't know what Trisha is, but I'm hoping it's not your neighbor.
Don't worry about it.
Hey, Trisha, come here.
She's very accommodating. She's a lovely woman. Jesus Christ.
Moving on.
Dear. And last question, Sam Danby, and I cannot help with this at all. I think this might be an Oscar thing, although Chuck's quite knowledgeable about America. So, favourite and least favourite American states?
We've slated West Virginia quite a lot.
Yes, you have.
Yes. Yeah. Chuck, I'm curious to hear your answer.
Well, the one I've been to the most is obviously Florida, because fucking Disney World, man, and Universal. And so that's great. But obviously going there when I've been older, kind of realise what Florida's about.
Mm-hmm.
So not very pleasant. So you could award it for both, I think.
And that would be the most Florida thing, actually, to be both favorite and worst.
Yeah, it's very much Liverpool celebrating against Huddersfield. Callback. Yeah, probably I don't know, because it's just so many good memories I've got. Florida's definitely the best. Worst state? But which states have I been to? So I've been to Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, California, New York, Massachusetts, Texas. I like Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going Texas. The food, man, was just amazing.
I do like the food in Texas. I've been a few times. It's great.
When I went, it was for a bartending competition, and I got picked up at the airport, which was fucking cool, and had a man with like my name on a thing and everything, and then got into what can only be described as the biggest truck in the world. Like this massive Escalade thing that I had to take like 2 steps up to get into,
Yep.
and got driven to like through these massive highways to like just nothing there. And this is in like Dallas, like once you just get a tiny bit outside the city, just to these massive hotels, and that was cool. And then the food was banging everywhere, and the people were nice. Texas, when I went to Texas and Dallas,
I do quite like Texas. Yeah.
I'm very glad we're being nice about Texas because they've been downloading lately.
No, I like Texas. I fully like Texas. I'm doing a cool thing this summer. Speaking of states, crossing a big thing off the bucket list. My one of my best friends is moving to Australia, and so before he leaves, he and I did. I don't know if I've talked about it on the pod, probably because I talk about it to everyone at all times when I can. But in '09, we did this massive road trip where we were just on the road for 6 weeks, just driving all up and down the country. There were a few states we missed.
For lunch.
So this summer, before he leaves for New Zealand or Australia, whichever one of the two he's moving to, I think actually New Zealand. I don't remember. Anyway, we're going to cross off the rest of the states. So we're doing a road trip this summer, and we're not counting Alaska and Hawaii because they're not connected to anything else. But of the 48, they're called the continental states, the ones that are like all attached to each other. We're going to have seen all 48 by the end of the summer. So that's really exciting. I'm like so excited for that.
So how many have you got left?
I'm at like 41 right now.
Oh, wow. And are they up at, like, is this something that could be really short because they're clustered together, or are you kind of at all 4 corners?
There's a bunch that are, so when we did our road trip in '09, we basically did a donut around the entire outsides, but there was like the middle ones that we missed, the middle of the middle.
Because there's fuck all there.
Well, there's bourbon and barbecue food. So that's kind of what this trip is mostly going to be.
Nice.
And then like one in the corner.
Chuck was just thinking you were going to do whatever that point is where 5 states meet, and you were just going to do a little circle around there.
Just
yeah,
that's 5
the
done.
4 corners.
There we go.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
But so, I mean, obviously I'm going to say New York is my favorite because I'm from there, and New York City is the greatest place in the world. So that's kind of biased. If I go away from that, my favorite state would probably be California because there's just so much there. That's cool. I really, really, really love San Francisco. I've been to San Francisco a bunch of times, and it's a cool ass city. San Diego's a really cool city. LA is overrated, but it does have Disneyland and like good beaches and restaurants. Yeah, I really like California, and it was like a dream of mine to like. I literally cried the first time I got to California because like I've talked about this a little bit, but like I grew up pretty poor, so like going to California was this thing that like where all the rich people were, and it was this like big thing. So when I finally got there in '09, we pulled over at the first exit. And I just had like a moment, like I didn't like cry a lot, but like, you know, a single tear. So I have much of a fondness for California in general. So that's probably my favorite. My least favorite, very easy to answer, New Mexico. Wonderful people in New Mexico. I spent a summer doing research there. I was researching, as you might expect, because it's Albuquerque, New Mexico, drug use and kind of running statistical models to see like what are the different factors that contribute to drug use.
And where you could find them.
Yep. Wonderful people. Really liked all of the people I met. I have some friends there. But I fucking hated the city of Albuquerque so much the whole time I was there. I fucking hated it.
Why?
It is hot. It was 108 degrees Fahrenheit every fucking day that I was there, which is like, I don't know.
A billion?
Really hot, yeah.
Really, let me translate that for you real quick.
48?
No, is it that bad? Jesus.
It was never below 105 the whole time I was there. Literally, I remember because I remember hating that. Yeah, that's 41 and higher the whole summer. There's these mutated. This is the worst fucking thing. There are these mutated cockroaches because like New Mexico is where they did nuclear testing when they were developing the first atom bombs, and so there are cockroaches that mutated that are like the size of a fucking plate almost. I don't know. They're bigger than your hand.
Chuck, did you say there were a lot of drugs there? Yeah.
Yeah, loads of drugs.
They're white. They're like weird white roaches, and they aggressively attack your feet when you're walking around at night. So, like, I made the mistake of going out in flip-flops, and they just run at you, and it's like whack, whack, whack. And it's fucking disgusting. And it was hot, and it's at a really high altitude, so I had altitude sickness the whole summer. I was pooping a lot. None of my shoes fit. Fucking terrible. I had the worst summer ever, so I fucking hate New Mexico. Anytime New Mexico comes up, I have this visceral reaction of fuck that place.
Okay.
But if you're from New Mexico, we love you. Thank you for listening. And you're lovely, lovely humans there.
Yeah, they aren't listening.
But don't live there. Don't. Why did they stop? It's in the middle of the fucking desert. There's not even... I was in a cab, and the guy said, we've been in a drought since 1984. I'm like, that's not a drought. You just live in a fucking desert. That's not what a drought is. That's not how droughts work. Don't fucking stop there. They just like... It's like they were driving west... Going west, trying to like settle in California, and then they were like, I'm tired. You want to stop here? This is the worst fucking place in the world. Why don't we build a city here? There's no water. It's at altitude, and everything's trying to murder us. So, New Mexico is my least favorite, easily. Whew, that was therapeutic. Wow,
Good.
I feel better now.
Good. If you want to add to Oscar's therapy, then you can get in touch with us at Miles Offside Pod on Twitter, with Miles Offside on Facebook, or milesoffsidepod@gmail.com. And as mentioned, you can become a Patreon at patreon.com/milesoffsidepod and get various extra stuff from us.
Yeah, get on the Slack channel, get some chats all about food and socks and football.
Dave sent us a picture of his meatballs.
Yeah, his meaty balls are looking good.
Yep.
Covered in sauce.
Num num num.
Num num. Fixtures!
Oh, what's the football doing? Go on then.
So, because, there is actually football. We've crossed that bridge. So, obviously we're not covering... Well, there's Liverpool, West Ham coming up, but Liverpool win, I guess, loads. Then Saturday, the 1st of February, 2020, Leicester-Chelsea is the early kickoff. Oh, Oscar. Ooh.
You expecting to get Burnley?
No, I think we'll actually get to our numbers against Leicester.
And lose.
And they will also reduce to their numbers. And so I'm hoping that like the gods of XG smile upon us and we win that one. Maybe Ruben's back? Ruben was... holy shit, we didn't talk about this. Ruben's in full training.
He's back!
Official player of the podcast, Ruben, with the Palace and the Chelsea connection.
Sure.
We stand. He's back in full training. He might play. Try not to jinx it.
He won't, but...
Probably not.
It's
Probably
good
not.
to dream. That beautiful bastard. Then we've got Bournemouth Villa, Palace Sheffield United, fuck's sake, Liverpool Southampton, Newcastle Norwich, Watford Everton, West Ham Brighton. Then the later kickoff is Man United Wolves. Then on Sunday the 2nd of February, Burnley Arsenal. Just why do that to yourself? That's on telly. And then Spurs Man City. It is the Pepper Mourinho show again.
Oh, hey!
Not much bluster to that, actually. It hasn't really been mentioned at all, so I'm sure since it's on Sky Sports, they'll be ramping up all the propaganda.
They'll be trying, but can it even be a thing anymore?
I think they're both just over it.
Yeah, Mourinho's fallen.
They're both just tired. Pep's tired. He's moaning about shit. Pep's becoming Mourinho.
Yeah.
All right, Ian, give us your hot take. What's going to be the good match this weekend?
What's going to be the good match? The Adam Lallana derby, the Virgil van Dijk derby, Liverpool Southampton.
The Sadio Mane derby.
All those derbies.
The Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain derby.
The Liverpool A versus Liverpool B derby.
There's another one in there
Southampton,
somewhere.
the hottest team in the league right now.
This is true, apart from Liverpool.
Well, will Liverpool get their first loss against Southampton?
No, I don't think so, but I think both teams will score, and I think it'll be a decent open game. And I just think it'll be a good game to watch.
If there was anywhere to bet over here, I'd be betting on Southampton. Put a cheeky $10 on it or something.
The Dejan Lovren derby. Did he play for them? Yeah.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, so many.
There really is a lot, isn't
It's
there?
really embarrassing.
It really feels like every time you say one, it just feels like there's one more in there.
The striker, that really old striker.
Ricky Lambert.
There you go. Ricky Lambert. What is that? Is that from Gaffer Tapes or is that from something else?
Huh?
Did that not make any sense to you? Every time I hear his name, something I used to watch would go, Ricky Lambert.
No idea.
Never heard of that.
Nope, so not gaffer tapes then. I have no idea what that's from. If you know, please write in on Twitter. I didn't make it up, but it's somewhere.
Danny Ings, did he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Danny Ings derby. Fucking hell, there is always one more.
Yeah, always one more.
Madness.
Anyway, that'll be a good game. Yourself, any thoughts?
No.
Fucking hell.
All right, and on that note, thank you for tuning in this week. Say goodbye, Chuck.
Bye.
Say goodbye, Ian.
He stole the outro off me.
Nathaniel Klein.
Yes,
Hey.
and Palace.
And Sonogo.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Shambles. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.